All right, let me get into Justice League Dark now. This is the final movie in this particular universe. Basically, we spent the last 10 years with these characters, this rendition of these characters, these voices. You know, your Kevin Conroy's, your Bruce Timms, your who else? Shamar Moore. Um, so we've spent a decade with these particular people in this particular universe of the Justice League, basically. You know, Batman Beyond, the Justice League series, like the animated series, like this is the end. So moving forward, they're going to reboot this thing. And starting off, you should have already seen the trailers for Man of Steel, Man of Tomorrow. That's already out now. So this is it's a new animation style. Tim Daly, yes, Tim Daly. So it's going to be all brand new. So this is the end of an era, especially for us. We grew up with these people. Yeah, Kevin Conroy. So yeah. Um, okay, so it starts off. Wait. Before I even get into that, part of this was supposed to take. Part of this comes from the planned trilogy that Zack Snyder had originally envisioned for Justice League, the live action, before Kevin Sugihara and the execs at Warner Brothers basically bent Zack Snyder over the couch. Okay, this part of this was supposed to be in the trilogy. So the trilogy goes, if I remember correctly, they even changed the part in the end of the original Justice League. Steppenwolf was supposed to die. Okay, the original script called for Steppenwolf to be boomed to back to Darkseid, back to Apokolips, and Darkseid was supposed to kill Steppenwolf. Okay, that was going to be like our first real glimpse of Darkseid. Okay, so then the second installment was supposed to happen was Superman was supposed to fall under Darkseid's control. He was going to be on Darkseid's team. The Justice League gets fucking decimated. And then the nightmare scenario, blah 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 blah. The black suit. Listen, Kevin Sugihara robbed us. Say what you want about Zack Snyder. Visually, make some of the best looking movies. I mean, visually, storytelling, not so much. But yeah, you had Chris Terrio, penning the script. You had Chris Nolan hanging around in the rafters, overseeing things. This is why I'm so happy with the Snyder Cut. This is why the Snyder Cut is going to whoop ass. This is why the Snyder Cut's going to leave a lot of egg on a lot of people's faces. They're going to have to continue that universe. Period. I'm only getting HBO Max just for the Snyder Cut. They're going to have to continue that universe. Does that mean Batfleck comes back? Don't know. Would I like to see Batfleck come back? Yes, I would. I wouldn't care if they made movies specifically for that universe on HBO Max. But this movie is going to whoop ass next year on HBO Max. Okay? All right. So we have the quote. It says, accept the things you cannot change, have the courage to change the things you can, and have the wisdom to know the difference. We see Zatanna. She mumbles a spell, Rav member, to John Constantine while he's sleeping. Zatanna has a look of worry. The Justice League has a meeting about Darkseid. They agree to launch an attack and go to Apokolips and launch an attack. Okay, the whole time Darkseid is listening through Cyborg, because Cyborg is infused with apocalyptic technology. So yes, Darkseid can hack into Cyborg. So he hacked in. He listened to their plans. Okay. Raven has a panic attack or a psychic attack, right? Because Raven has her own issues, man, because she's housing her daddy Trigon right here, okay, in the Ruby, okay? Justice League plans to attack Apokolips while the Teen Titans stay behind to guard Earth. Okay, that's the plan. The Flash warns everybody about his visions from the Flashpoint. You have to watch Justice League Flashpoint just because, okay? Darkseid, while waiting for the guys to show up, he's upgraded his the parademons. They've been infused with Kryptonian doomsday DNA, so they're now called paradooms. Okay, so imagine a bunch of doomsdays with wings. Okay, no one can stand up to that. Okay, so as they go through the boom tube, they approach Apocalypse. Here come all the fucking paradooms, and they just emaciate through the Justice League. Okay, they don't stand a fucking chance. One symbol that I've seen, and I want to briefly touch on that John Constantine used, right? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's that? Let me find my notes. Let me find my notes. Let me find my notes. Oh shit. Okay, it's called the triquetra. It is a symmetrical triangle ornament of 3 interlaced arcs used on metalwork and stone crossings. Let's see. It derived from the 7th century. It's an old Celtic symbol, but it's also used in witchcraft per se. So when you see John use this device in the bar scene, it's like a triple triangle. That's called the triquetra. Let's see what it's called. Also called the Celtic knot. So if you're an Irish, Celt, Scottish, you know what I'm talking about with this symbol. Okay. Let's see. It dates back to as early as 500 BC when it was used to symbolize the triple goddess Maiden Mother Crone. Over the centuries, it has become the symbol of the Holy Trinity among Christians in Ireland. Okay. The symbol is often used to represent the 3 fundamental elements: air, water, and earth, or the infinite cycle of life. It is also known as a rune of protection. Okay. So when you see this 3-pronged triangle in Justice League, I mean, if you've already watched the movie, you know what I'm talking about. In the scene where he flames one of the paradooms or one of the parademons, the triangle thingy majigger. So that's what he used. That's what that was. I just want to get that out of the way real quick. Okay. So Superman, Batman, Cyborg, Zatanna, Constantine, Lex Luthor, Hal Jordan, Hawkman, Mira, Martian Manhunter, and Wonder Woman, and what's her name? Raven. They all go to Apokolips. They're attacked by paradooms upon arrival, and yes, they get slaughtered. It's pretty bad. Okay, 2 years later, after the invasion of Apokolips, Earth has been occupied. John and Etrigan are back on Earth, getting drunk in a pub. A withered Raven and depowered Superman ask for a locator spell to find Damian Wayne. Raven is weakened from using her full powers to keep Trigon imprisoned in her mind. Part of the reason why Trigon wants to get out, because if Raven dies, Trigon is stuck in that dimension in her head. Okay, so he wants to get out really, really bad. Okay, Superman has been infused with liquid kryptonite, rendered him powerless. John reads Raven's mind and hears Trigon. John blames Superman for Zatanna's death. Raven questions why John ran from helping Zatanna when she was getting killed by paradooms. Okay, flashback to the arrival of Apokolips. Hal's killed. The Flash is beaten up and taken prisoner. Hawkman has his wings ripped off. Aquaman is killed by Darkseid's Omega beams. Shazam loses his right leg. Martian Manhunter set on fire. Mera is gravely injured. Cyborg helps an injured Shazam escape through a boom tube. Then he's captured and he's ripped apart by Darkseid again. Remember in the Justice League movie, he gets his leg ripped off, or he gets ripped in half. Okay. Diana has her left arm torn off by a paradoom. Sorry. Supes is captured. Okay. Batman is captured, placed in a Morbius chair, and mind melded and tortured into becoming basically number 1 acolyte for Darkseid. Zatanna is killed by paradooms. John escapes through a portal, and he doesn't understand why. A Planet Reaper is sent to the Congo. Planet Reapers, if you watched Man of Steel, they were called the World Engines. Same premise. They terraform the land. Okay, a huge device that comes down, but the Planet Reapers, they suck out the Earth's molten core to send to Apokolips. Okay, Darkseid plans to go to Oa to claim that space. Darkseid needs the Earth's magma to power Apokolips. Raven transports John, Etrigan, Supes, and to Damian's. Luthor has to check in with Batman regarding the transfer of Earth's resources to Apokolips. So Lex Luthor, Lex Luthor works for Batman. Batman is Darkseid's number one guy. So there's this back and forth with them, because Luther is like, I work for you, but and like Batman doesn't trust him. He tells Darkseid, don't trust this dude. I have a reason not to trust him. Darkseid's like, we'll see. Okay. Damian agrees to help Superman. Raven has to rescue one of Trigon's. Wait. Okay, I'm sorry. Raven has a lapse and has to reattach one of Trigon's chains because he breaks one of his chains. Trigon wants to be released because if she dies, he will be stuck in purgatory. Trigon threatens to kill Damian. Damian recounts his dead Titan members. Kid Cyborg is dead. Starfire was ripped in half with her intestines literally hanging out of her. Bumblebee is dead with 2 spikes in her back. Blue Beetle, his head was caved in. Superboy, don't know what happened to Superboy. I forgot what happened to Superboy. Nightwing was impaled in the chest, but Damian took him to the Lazarus pit. I'm sorry. Nightwing. Okay, he was injured, stabbed in the chest. Damian took him to the Lazarus pit, and he became crazy. Because when you go to the Lazarus pit, every time it makes you crazy. That's what happened to Ra's al Ghul. Every time he went to the pit, it just made him a little bit more crazy. So Damian had to lock up Nightwing to protect himself because he went crazy from the Lazarus pit. Okay. Superman needs Damian to break the mind meld on Batman. Amanda Waller is dead from cancer. They go to see Lois. Lois is fighting Harley to get help from the Suicide Squad. The plan is to break into LexCorp to use its boom tube. Okay. John reveals he used to have a relationship with King Shark. Why they put that in there, I don't know why. Did I need to know Constantine and King Shark had a thing? Now, mind you, King Shark, when I last checked, is a male shark. Okay. Last time I checked, sharks are not androgynous. Okay. There's male and female. So I guess John. Moving on. The Batman finally killed the Joker, which is why Harley is upset with Batman. Raven and Damian have a heart-to-heart and rekindle their feelings for each other. Superman had to stop Raven from committing suicide at one point. The Planet Reapers have been established in Congo, China, and England. Okay. Lois' plan is to blow up Apokolips. They have to lure the Paradooms away from Apokolips. Lois wants to attack the Planet Reapers at once during Darkseid's trip to Oa. Lois and Superman's team storm LexCorp to use a boom tube, set the power generators to critical, and blow up Apokolips. Lois has a spy in Darkseid's camp. Shazam, Steel, and Superboy attack the Reaper in China. Orchid, the Bat family attack the Reaper in England. Batman questions Lex about the attacks and sends in the Paradooms. Okay. John P., you caught the nonsense too. Yeah, it's like, why did you put that in? He was like, oh no, it's my ex. And they're like, who? And there's King Shark. King Shark is a shark. I was like, oh my fucking God, like really? Okay, whatever. Constantine convinces Swamp Thing to destroy the Reaper in the Congo. Okay, because they don't have enough manpower to attack all 3, so they can only attack 2. So Constantine went to the Congo, convinced Swamp Thing to take out the Reaper in the Congo. Okay, Superman, Lois, Suicide Squad, they all storm LexCorp. Harley bashed. And listen, this is a very violent movie. Okay, now I've seen some violent cartoons in my day, anime. This is pretty violent, which I like, because at this point, like, why hold back, right? Harley's bashing soldiers' heads in with a sledgehammer. King Shark is shown to is eating people. Cheetah gets shot and killed. Sheila is shot in the head. Luther attacks the crew. Raven briefly loses control, and Soup steps in, stops her from killing Lex. So at one point, Raven lost control, and her daddy kind of possessed her body for a split second and grabbed Luther, and she was like, "No one's going to mourn you." And Superman's like, "Hey, you can't kill him. He's our spy. Okay, can't kill Lex. He's our spy. He's the mole." Okay, Swamp Thing brings down the Congo Reaper. Batgirl's killed. Orchid is incinerated. Superboy's neck is broken. Shazam is overtaken by Paradooms and blows himself up by yelling Shazam. John agrees to use the dagger of Astova to kill Raven to prevent the release of Trigon. Okay. Soups uses one of Lex's suits. Lex sends Soup, John, Raven, and Etrigan to Apokolips. Batman discovers Lex is the mole. Darkseid decimates Oa, kills Kilowog, John Stewart. He just decimates the entire Green Lantern all by himself. There's one scene when John is like on the ground and he's trying to charge his ring, and then Darkseid tells Batman to send like 30% of Earth's magma to Oa, and then the magma comes down, destroys the power ring, and it just incinerates John Stewart. He's a burned bones at this point, like if literally vaporized. Okay, it's like wow. Okay, good shit. All right. Next to the notes. The team then engages the cyborg Furies. So all the people, half the people we thought were dead, were not dead. They've kind of been reanimated cyborg, made into the Darkseid's Furies. You know, the Furies headed by Granny Goodness, right? So, but there's no Granny Goodness in this. So basically his armed personal security guards headed by Diana. Okay, so Mira is a half snake. Martian Manhunter is like a half arachnid. Hawkman and Starfire show up along with Wonder Woman. So they all been pretty much converted over mind melded and cyborg enhanced parts. Because you know they pretty much their original bodies were just torn into shreds in the original skirmish with the Parademons. Like Hawkman had his wings ripped off in the beginning. Brutal. Okay, so Etrigan engages Wonder Woman and is stabbed in the chest and falls into a lake of fire. Constantine uses Wonder Woman's lasso against her to break Darkseid's mind control. Diana engages the Furies, while the rest go to engage to set up the boom tube. Okay. Back on Earth, Paradooms attack Lex, Suicide Squad, and LexCorp. So they got to hold off the Paradooms, so they can't come back to Apokolips. It's a suicide mission. They're not going to make it out. Okay. Let's see. They find Flash on this eternal treadmill. This treadmill he's been running on forever and a day is being used to power Apokolips, the reactor, because the reactor was damaged. So they poor Flash. So they find him. They see him like, oh God. They see him running on his treadmill, and they're like, oh God. They get him. They disconnect him, and he's like, please make it stop. Mind you, he's been running this entire time, powering this entire planet. Darkseid is, I mean, the torture methods in this is hilarious. Okay, so then John learns that Flash caused the Flashpoint. Bane is killed by the Paradooms. Black Manta is ripped in half. This is back on Earth now, back at LexCorp. This is a bunch of cut scenes back and forth. Back on Apokolips, they find Cyborg fused to a circuit board. John uses techno magic to restore Cyborg's to break Cyborg's mind meld as well. To deprogram the Furies. Cyborg can't leave the circuit board. Okay, Batman and Darkseid show up. So Damian engages Bruce and basically is beaten to a pulp. Before he gives Damian the killing blow, he has a flashback to his parents in the alley and tells Darkseid to go to hell, and throws a sword in Darkseid's eye. Darkseid then begins to use the Omega beams on Batman. Damian jumps in the front and takes the beams and is incinerated. I mean, he's burned, hair singed off, 3rd-degree burns. He's just all messed up. I was like, damn. It was pretty brutal. I loved it. He's burned badly. Raven sees this, loses control, frees Trigon briefly. Okay. John then knocks off Raven's forehead gem via the knife of Astova, crushes the ruby on the ground. A pentagram opens up, and then out comes Trigon. Trigon's spirit is revealed. Okay. Constantine tells him, your bonds have been loosened, but not yet broken. He wants Trigon to take an oath to John and offer Trigon a magical host to kill Darkseid. Trigon has a better plan. He infects Superman, takes on Superman's body, dispels the liquid kryptonite, and then he breaks John's neck. And then Trigon begins to engage Darkseid in battle. And pretty much throughout this second act onto the third act, it's obvious that Trigon is far superior to Darkseid. Even though we all know Darkseid's strengths, feats, and abilities, Trigon is another level. Like I don't think people are really well versed in Trigon's his stature and just how badass he is. Like Trigon is, if there's anybody that could like manhandle Darkseid, he's the guy. Okay, and I'm not talking fully unhinged Superman because they're still, they can still go back and forth. But Trigon pretty much beats Darkseid's ass. Okay, this is a warm up to the final fight. Okay, Cyborg then sends Clark a final message from Lois. Lex is killed, leaving only Captain Boomerang, King Shark, Lois, and Harley as Lex Tower blows up. Before it blows up, Lois sends Clark a final message, says, I love you. That forces Superman to snap out of his Trigon being possessed. He expels Trigon out of his body, right? So then Trigon gets imprisoned in a cube or in a sphere by Darkseid, okay? Because mind you, he's still not in his final form. Okay. Supes restores and then so then a fully restored Superman, he engages Darkseid. So they're fighting. So he pretty much he's getting the best of Darkseid. The one homage in this movie is when he's punching Darkseid in the face and he's like, this is for my friends and Lois and Earth. The same way in Man of Steel, how Kal-El would engage in Zod in the cornfield and he's punching him. He's like, this is for my mother. Don't you touch my mother. And he cracks his faceplate. Remember that scene? Same scene. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So while Superman is beating up Darkseid, John is in heaven with his antenna. She tells him she used a compulsion spell on him to make him run away. It was part of Batman's backup plan. Batman once again shows why he can beat anybody given enough prep time. There's a running joke with Batman, the prep time. Okay, because without prep time, yes, Batman would get wiped out. But we all use a joke. Given enough prep time, Batman can beat anybody. Okay, so that's a running joke amongst us comic book heads. And okay, all right. Zatanna tells John he can't stay in heaven and sends him back. Raven is holding Damien's burned body. So she's crying and then the tears fall on his burned face and then it restores him. And then she ascends to the White Raven. Okay. Remember Lord of the Rings, Gandalf the Grey ascended to Gandalf the White. Okay. So white is a purity color. It's usually associated with good, ascension, like the highest level. You know what I'm saying? So she ascends to Raven the White, brings Damien back to life. Wonder Woman and the Fury show up. Cyborg is going to send everyone back to Earth and send and then open a boom tube and send the Parademons and Darkseid to no destination. Okay, no destination. Right? John frees Trigon to fight Darkseid. Okay, because they need a distraction. So then Trigon is released and he's in final form. This is the epic part. Trigon and he takes on Darkseid. The Paradooms are brought back to Apokolips. Trigon, this is probably the most beautiful part of the entire movie. So, as they're all leaving through the boom tube to get out, they can't take Cyborg with them, right? Because John's like, well, can't you just download your consciousness into a molecule or something? He's like, it doesn't work like that. So they're all leaving. Raven tells Damien, go ahead, I'll catch up. So before Trigon goes to fight Doomsday one last time, right? He says to her, now mind you, the relationship between Raven and Trigon he's a bad parent. Okay. Trigon's a bad parent, but he loves his child nonetheless. Okay. There's a scene when earlier Raven tells Damien, yeah, even bad parents love their children. Okay. So he's floating to go meet Darkseid. She looks at him and he says, what a wonderful gift, daughter. Be well. I was like, oh shit. And she says, goodbye, father. and she goes into a boom tube. It's like, fuck. It was like, oh, you wanted them to patch things. I mean, they patched it up, but you wanted to see, you know what I'm saying? Like all those years, it's like, I forgive you, but that's the last memory I'm going to have of you. You know what I'm saying? It was so poignant, such a beautiful scene. I was saddened. It's like, ah, shit, man. That's like the one time you ever seen him really like be nice to her, like really show concern for her like that. Okay, so they all go through the boom tube back at, and then wait. There's one part I missed. One of my part am I missing? Okay, so as Trigon approaches Darkseid for the final throwdown, he tells him, "Okay, we're going to see who's going to serve and who shall rule and who shall serve." And then that's when they engage into it. Listen, pretty much, Darkseid doesn't stand a chance against Trigon. Like this, in his final form, full form, Darkseid gets his ass handed to him, handedly. Okay, now, they go through the boom tube. The boom tube opens up, and then Trigon grabs him and throws him. They go into the nothing destination, as the planet is just that breaks apart. Cyborg gets broken apart because he's fused to a fucking wall. He starts to separate, and he's like, his last words is like, "Suck it, bitches." And so he's disintegrated. So the entire Apokolips gets sucked into the boom tube to go to nowhere. There's no destination he sent them to. Okay, they're just like in purgatory. Okay. Back at Teen Titan, the Titan Tower. Sorry, Raven and Damian are embracing. You have Starfire like consoling Nightwing. Nightwing's in a straitjacket and he's laid in her lap. And even though Starfire is like all cyborged out, she still has enough human emotion left in her to console Nightwing. It's a really deep scene. Okay, it's a scene of despair. There's no happy ending here. Okay, there's no happy ending. This is a very sad. They lost. Okay, they lost. All right. So Batman reports 31% of the Earth's magma has been lost. The Earth's rotation has been compromised. It'll take another 1 billion deaths before they can begin to restore the planet, if they can. John tells Flash he has to create another flashpoint. Flash agrees and begins to run underwater. And as the time is being reset, you see the bright light coming towards them, right? It's like if you go to heaven, I guess the bright light's coming. It's coming. So then Damian and Raven have a kiss, and then as everybody's enveloped in the white light, it's phased out. The end. Damn. So hence what leads us to this new reboot, the new DC anime reboot, hence starting with Superman Man of Tomorrow. This was a great film. Probably one of the, would I put a top 3 of all Justice League films? If not top 3, like 3-1A, 3-1B. This is a great way to end it. And so yeah, that was Justice League Apokolips, Justice League Dark Apokolips War. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly.